Good morning, my Unity family. I'm Deborah Giddings, and I am happy and joyful to be with you today. Today, I'm going to talk to you about how to boldly step into your divine identity, how to boldly go where no one has gone before. I wasn't really sure what this boldly go before meant, and then I remember something that I read in the Bible from John chapter 5, verses 6 through 8, when Jesus was talking to this invalid on the ground, and he was laying there and complaining that everybody was getting into the water and going ahead of him and no one would help him. And Jesus looked at him and said, "Do you want to be healed?" And the person said, "Yes, I do." And he said, "Well, stand up, take up your mat and walk." And I heard that and I'm like, this really told me that if I keep doing what I've always done, I'm going to get what I've always gotten before. So let me just tell you a little story. When I was in my 20s and had an idea to do something, I would just jump right in without looking. Have you ever done that? Just jump in without knowing what might happen? Some might say that this is being careless or immature. Well, maybe. Sometimes, though, it's having an inner faith that comes with being a co-creator with God. I have to tell you, though, in my 20s, I wasn't having that inner faith knowing I'm a co-creator with God. It was somewhat careless and immature. At age 27, I picked up and moved across the country, and I did this with no money and no idea how I would take care of myself. Again, I jumped. And within a year, I started a business and was offering a service no one had offered before. The ability to have your work typed up, saved onto a disk, and then brought back up for edits without having to retype it. It was 1980, and I introduced word processing to my clients. And at first they were a little skeptical, but when I showed them how it would save time and money, they loved the idea. I was going where no one had gone before. Well, at least in Southern California. And I didn't stop and think, I wonder if I'll succeed or not. I just jumped. I took it one day at a time, one step at a time, and every time a hurdle would come before me, I would jump over it. No thought to whether I would run or fall. I was a child living in a world through childlike eyes and wonder, and I felt invincible. So that young person is still in me today. You can go ahead and ask my minister. She sometimes has to try to slow me down because I'm jumping and I haven't looked at all the touch points of something. But do I jump as often as I used to? Well, no. Today I leap. Leaping and jumping are very different. When I envision jumping like into the water, I'm vertical, my legs are straight, and when I jump, I sink right to the bottom. Whereas when I envision leaping, I see my arms out, I'm horizontal, and I can see greater distances. Today, when my fear-based thoughts try to stop me from leaping, I stop and go within to remember the truth of who I am. It allows me to take that much-needed space to open and view the vista, and then discern what is the best path to take. Every day, each of us is going where we have never gone before. And we are so powerful. We are powerful beyond measure, as Marianne Williamson says. Many years ago, I heard a speaker named Mary Mannon Morrissey, and she was saying, we are so powerful that if you do nothing for an entire year but breathe, you would have breathed a full year of life. Yikes, I said to myself. Now, Deborah, the question is, are you leaping boldly in faith or jumping in fear? Well, here's how you can tell. Unity principle number 3 says we are co-creators with God, creating reality through thoughts held in mind. So this tells me that we have a choice. Are we going where no one has gone before based on our human eyes, our historical beliefs and thoughts? Or are we boldly going where no one has gone before, using our spiritual eyes and co-creating with the God mind? Are we creating from our fear-based history? Or are we tapping into the unlimited potential and possibility of divine mind? As I said before, I realize now that in my 20s I was solely creating with my human eyes. I jumped from one thing to another. And at times it was exhilarating, but it was also exhausting. Because after 5 years of running that business, I was completely burnt out. because I had not taken care of my body or my spirit. Jumping gave me a limited viewpoint. Back in '85, when I entered a spiritual program, it gave me that most needed space for me to stop and go within. I stopped jumping. I had a sponsor that said to me, "Deborah, there's more to life than just increasing its speed." I took the time to discover my beliefs and decide which ones were serving me and which ones were harming me. When I truly embodied that I am a co-creator with God, things made much more sense. In this spiritual program, it was suggested that I start a daily practice of prayer and meditation. I leaped with faith and did so, and once I did that, I was then able to start to make better decisions for myself and those around me. I was able to stand up, take up my mat, and boldly go where no one had gone before. So for each of you, I say, take up your mat and walk. Make the decision as a co-creator with God to boldly go where no one has gone before. Take the time to reflect, pray, and meditate, even if it's only for a few minutes. Remember, thoughts and mind produce after their own kind. So the more we practice at something, the more it becomes part of who we are. We embody this. We become the change we wish to see in the world. So try these practices. And then when you take up your mat and walk, when you are ready to boldly go where no one has gone before, you'll do so with the grace of a soul who knows how to not only tap dance, but also waltz. Namaste.